Hello everyone, and welcome back to another drawing tutorial video. And in today's video we're going to look at part 3 of our sitting tutorial videos. This time we're going to have our character slightly leaned forward towards us, holding her legs up to her chest. So, like always, we'll start with our head. And I'm going to have the head at a slight angle here. So we'll just quick make a simple head shape. From there, since our character is leaned forward just a little bit, I'm actually going to start by having some angled collarbones. You'll use like this, which should have drawn my center line first so I could get these right, but it's what it is. So I'll quick draw the center line now, just so I can balance stuff off of it. From there, we will draw in our ribs. And put our shoulders on those, like so. And then what we can do is from just behind the shoulder circles, we can connect our traps. So she's not leaned forward an absolute ton, so it's not going to be quite as stacked. However, she is leaned forward enough that you're not just looking at the collarbone like just flat on with the traps kind of poking out above it. Instead, you're going to be looking a little bit more downward on it. So instead of having, shape like that, it's going to be more angled. And basically the further forward they're leaning, or the higher your perspective, the more exaggerated the space between the top of the trap and the collarbone will be. So for this, we've just got her leaned forward just a touch, so it's not going to be super exaggerated, but it will be present. So then we'll do our pit line, and since she's leaned forward a little bit, we'll keep this overall rib line here rather shallow, just because this is being pointed down and away from us. So do that. Now from there, I'm not going to go into great detail with her midsection, because since she's holding her legs up, her legs are going to be covering a lot of her body. So we're not going to go crazy there. And if you'll have to forgive me if there's random moments in this where I'm just not talking or moving, it's because I'm coughing my lungs out. I'm getting over a respiratory illness, and this is actually take 2 of this video because I muted my mic to cough and forgot to unmute it, which is very fun for me. So take 2 here, but I'll still try to take my time and explain everything, even though I'm kind of upset. But either way, moving on here, we will draw this hip bucket shape. So this line down here was originally my line for like where the bench is essentially, but it kind of got messed up. So we'll do that. We'll draw these hip shape right here, like so. Connect these, and it's okay for our hips to be stacked just behind the ribs, since she's leaned forward just a touch, so it's okay for our hip shape to just reach the ribs in the first place. So if her legs were not in the way, basically what I would do to connect these is I would just follow my line like so, just like we always do, and just do that. So it's pretty much the same, but because again, the more, and we'll have some perspective videos, so there'll be some where the character be really leaned forward or we're just like above them looking down, so then this will be a lot different. But for right now, with this super slight lean, we don't really have to get too fancy with the midsection here. So either way, for right now, we can put in our legs. So she's holding her knees up, so for starters, I'm just going to draw 2 knees, just little knee circles here for now, right next to each other, with the sort of thigh bone marker just angled off, and it's going to come down below our hips. Because basically, what we're going to do, the glutes are going to be coming down beneath the base of our hips here. And so now what we can do is coming off from the knee, getting larger as we go down, and then just like in our previous tutorial, we still want the glute to sort of push itself out and around the hardened object down here, the bench. But because she's holding her legs up, it's not going to be as exaggerated as it was in our previous tutorial where she's just kind of spilling out around the bench. So we'll do the same thing over here. Try to keep these even. And still keeping in that rule, keeping it thinner here at the top, keeping it thick at the base, and giving it some nice curve. Just basically looking for shapes that we like. Just like that. So from there, we can follow our center line and then come out to the sides here at the base. And this is basically where our thighs begin. So, not going to get detailed there in between the legs, but for now, basically, this is just what the thighs are going to look like. So you've got your glutes down here, and then your thighs basically are everything right here. So from there, we will keep our feet together here, and I'm just going to do super simple feet just to save time for ourselves here. This isn't a foot tutorial. And then give some nice calf poke here on the outside, like so. So now what we can do, since she's holding her legs together, or holding them up, we will draw in the arms like so, kind of following our guidelines here, like this. From there, so now just like with the glutes, because her legs are pushed up and her arms are kind of to the side, her chest is also going to be kind of pushed around a little bit too. So you're going to have her chest kind of coming out to the side and rather perky because they're kind of resting on top of her arms, but then they're being pushed by her legs. So that's why they're going to squeeze out to the sides, but then they're also going to be up a little bit higher, because if our chest line was here, you can see that the overall mass of the chest is getting pushed up above that, and that's because they're resting on top of her arms, basically. So we'll have those moved up a little bit. Then, super simple little expression, just because why not? Alright, so I'm going to make her bigger just so she fills my page more. I guess I'll make her very big. But now I'll do the line art, and I'm not concerned about the overall quality of my lines here. I don't want to waste your guys' time doing that, so I will just pop this in. We're just following the lines that we established through our construction portion. Just like so, doing the ears. Give her a tiny nose and a smile. So from there, we'll probably just do the knees first, because why not? Or at least the front of the legs here. So I'll do the calf coming in like this. So I'm going to start with a little swoop, and it comes down like that. So we'll do swoop, in like that. Something like that. From there, just get our feet out of the way. We can put in our ankles here. So from there, we can put in arms for now. Like so. Then put in the breast because they're on top of this portion of the arm. You can connect the pits there. Like so. Put in our neck. Like that. Okay, and then from there, we can, forgot our legs will be visible right there, so kind of gotta do some erasing here. There we go. So from there, kind of come up. We're gonna keep the tops of these knees just a little bit flat, and not super flat, but they're not gonna be perfectly rounded either. So we'll do something like that. Add little dimples for the sides of the kneecap. From there, we don't need to necessarily make like a perfectly straight line here. We can just kind of infer that there's a line there, just because, you know, theoretically her legs are the same skin color. So if you were to color this character, you wouldn't necessarily need to put a full line right there unless you really wanted to. So we'll just kind of infer that there's separation there. There's no reason to kind of try to mess with it until you get a perfectly straight line there, unless you have to, which you can just use a ruler to do, which isn't a big deal. But so from there, we can do our thighs and glutes, just following the lines that we established here, like so. Then I'll just kind of tidy this up just a touch. Even though I'm not super concerned about my line art for these projects, I still want it to look somewhat decent here. Alright. So, and then from here, we'll just barely see the base of the thighs peeking out from behind the legs here. And there we go. So, I will just get rid of this from our other picture here. It's just kind of in the way. Okay. So that just about does it. So really, the differences between this sort of pose and the pose we did before is that this pose over here, she's much more relaxed. She's kind of, you know, just sitting back. So, you know, her one glute over here where all the weight is pushed, that's going to really pop out and poke out to the sides and get pushed around. Whereas for this one, kind of similar to this glute over here on our previous one, since she's got it up a little bit, it's not quite just spilling out and around the bench she's sitting on. Same thing happens here for this pose, because you have to remember, not only is the bench going to be here pushing on the glutes, but she's actually pulling her legs up and tucking them in. So what that's going to do, it's just basically going to mean that the thighs aren't going to just be spilling way over, and that there's going to be pressure pulling the glutes up. So they will still, you know, poke out, but there's not going to be as much force pushing them this way. So instead, you basically just want to keep, you know, a nice sort of rounded shape, and then you're just going to barely flatten out the very bottom, because that's what's actually like getting pushed on the bench. So hopefully that makes sense. You just kind of want to keep it rounded and tuck it, and then keep it a little bit flat right there on the bench. And then make sure you keep in mind what's going on with your overall character, like what her chest is up to. So we've got that just kind of pushed out to the side. It's way above our chest line that we would normally follow. But that should just about do it for this video. Hopefully you found this helpful, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.